running, the Socialist Alliance is running because the Labor and the Liberal parties, both the big parties, both the parties that form governments in this country, do not represent the interests of ordinary people. And we're fighting, we're struggling to build a movement that actually can more effectively represent the interests of ordinary people on the big issues that we face. And some of those big issues include climate change, they include workers' rights, they include the shameful policies that governments are taking towards refugees in this country, the shameful policies towards Aboriginal people. In general, it's a question of social justice, it's a question of looking after the interests of people and not the profits of big corporations. If you want to sum it up, it's a question of people before profits.
If you speak to Labor Party politicians about why aren't you prepared to stand up to the racist claptrap about boats? Why aren't you prepared to stand up to the mining industry and say, yeah, we do need to tax you so we can find money to fix the environment and to provide better public services? The Labor Party will say, oh, we can't do that. We won't get elected if we do that. We're not electable if we do that. And that's a pretty funny thing if you think about it, that the Liberals are confident that they can get elected on the basis of policies which are bad for the majority of Australians, whereas the Labor Party doesn't think it could get elected by going in 100% policy that would be good for the majority of Australians. Now, if you really believe that's true, then you'd have to conclude that Australians are a pretty apathetic, redneck, hopeless bunch. But if you actually look at history, it's not true. Think about how much Australia has changed on some basic things in our society about, for instance, racial equality, the treatment of women. I'm not saying we still have got a long way to go, but that's a massive change in community values that's taken place. So it's wrong to say that. And something else more recent, which brings that home as well, is the whole issue of equal marriage rights for gay and lesbian people. Now, only 10 years ago, the majority of Australians were against that. Today, opinion polls show that the majority of Australians support equal marriage rights for gay and lesbian people. And that's come in spite of the fact that the Labor Party hasn't supported it.
It's a sad and sick world still when refugees and people who are desperate and flee war and persecution and come halfway around the world to get a better opportunity are still locked up and treated as criminals. That is a broken world. It's a sad world when Aboriginal elders who are arrested for drink driving end up dead in the back of police vans, baked alive. And then the police who do kill black people in custody get off without charge, like they've done nothing wrong. And it's a really bad and sick world we live in when we're in wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and when Australian troops are responsible for bombing wedding parties in Afghanistan and massacring thousands of civilians. And it's these things that mean that change in Australia isn't just desirable but necessary.